Hi people, there's another episode of Global Game. As you know, my name's Saucin.
And I'm Kyle. Here with us today is a special guest, Mr. Austin Martin.
Alright, getting straight into it. NBA All-Star Weekend in Toronto 2016. Breaking up the celebrity game by US and Canada teams. The US team is coached by Philly's Kevin Hart, and the Canada team is coached by none other than Toronto's own Drizzy Drake.
Poppy Champagne himself, his assistant coach is going to be Steve Nash. I know his team is headlined by Toronto legend Tracy McGrady, and Rick Fox is going to be playing too. So I know it's going to be a whole lot of antics between Drake and Kevin Hart. That's going to be funny to watch. I know there's going to be a whole lot of hotline bling. It's going to be funny. What do you think, Austin?
I think it's going to be great. I think it's cool because you kind of have like the basketball mastermind and Steve Nash kind of behind, Drake being like the figurehead of the team. That'll be cool because you'll still have some basketball being played out there. But it'll be really funny to see Drake and, as you said, Philly's own Kevin Hart. I know Kevin Hart's probably going to be making some Meek Mill jokes, and we're going to see a little, back-to-back, back and forth going between Kevin Hart and Drake, so that'll be really fun to see. So, on the subject of All-Star Weekend, what do you guys think about the current All-Star voting system? This issue has become very controversial this year with somebody like Kobe Bryant, who has had a very subpar year, especially by his standards, being the number one vote getter. Kyrie Irving just got back about 2 weeks ago. He's in the top, 5 of vote getters thus far for All-Star players. So, what do you guys think? Is it a popularity contest, or how do you feel?
Yeah, like you just touched on, it gets a little problematic with the fan voting because my guy Kobe, who, obviously everybody wants to see him in it give him one last little All-Star game to go out to. It's going to be fun for the fans, fun for Kobe, fun for everybody involved. But does he deserve it? No. Kobe, I'm not too worried about Kobe getting an All-Star nod. He deserves it. But then you look at Kyrie Irving, who's going to have 1,000 more opportunities to come. He's played 10 plus games, and he's making the starters right now over incredibly deserving guards like Jimmy Butler and John Wall, who have been doing it the whole season for their team. So that's kind of disappointing. It's just problematic because the All-Star nod is a very big distinction among NBA players, and a lot of people's legacies and career and Hall of Fame nod and whatever rests on some of these decisions. So when players are missing this due to popularity contests of Kobe getting it and Kyrie getting it off 10 games, it's kind of an issue. Obviously, it's fun for the fans to get to see who they want to see, but also you don't want to run into problems of people who deserve the game not making the game.
Absolutely, and those are great points. I'm a little bit more comfortable with the way it is right now, much due to the fact of the way that the system is currently set up. So it's not a complete popularity contest right now, right? So the starters for the All-Star game are voted in by the fans, but the bench is selected by the coaches. So those guys that, may not be that popular, may not be the marquee names of the world like the Kobe Bryants, but that the coaches recognize still get a shot to go to the game. Guys like Damian Lillard, John Wall, those guys, the coaches say, hey, these are some of the best players in the league, so they'll get a shot. But with that said, it'd be really sad, like this year, to not see Kobe get to play in the All-Star game. He wouldn't make it if it was purely selected by coaches. He's not one of the top, 20 players in the league right now. Unfortunately, he's not playing on that level. So that's kind of the way I see it. I think maybe the system could be modified a little bit, so maybe the coaches got to select maybe 2 players on two starters on each team. So you have 3 guys on each side that are voted in by the fans, just to make it a little bit more fair. So on the topic of NBA, how you guys feeling about the midseason awards? Who's you guys MVPs, most improved player, and all that stuff.
Yeah, so 40 plus games in, the Rookie of the Year race is looking a little bit more clear now. I have a winner so far this season is Kristaps Porzingis, a young man coming out of Europe. 13.9 points per game, 7.9 rebounds per game, really doing his thing, helping out his team. The Knicks aren't in the playoffs as of right now, but I mean, if they keep doing their thing, I can see them making it. I know you're a big KAT fan, so.
I was bagging on Karl Anthony Towns a little bit earlier in the year, but his play has done everything to prove me a little wrong. I knew what he was capable of, but thought some other people might overtake him. But as of right now, he's looking like the Rookie of the Year to me. Best player on his team as a rookie, averaging almost 16 points, almost 10 boards, shooting above 50%. As a big man, shooting about 85 plus from the free throw line is huge, especially in today's game. So he's a lot for the Rookie of the Year as of right now to me. Looking at other awards, MVP and Defensive Player of the Year to me is a lock. Steph Curry easily has it. I think no argument. And for Defensive Player of the Year, Kawhi Leonard, best perimeter defender in the league to me. Incredible length, athleticism, and just sound defensive fundamentals, great hands. Locks up your best player on the outside, easy for me. And Sixth Man of the Year, Isaiah Thomas, best player on his team, on the Boston Celtics and coming off the bench. I think that's an easy one to me. And most improved, maybe not necessarily the most improved, but he's got a way larger role this year, and he's taken great advantage of it and produced way more numbers. CJ McCollum for the Portland Trail Blazers.
Yeah, my sixth man is Jeremy Lin, coming off a horrid season with the LA Lakers, doing his thing, rebounding with the Charlotte Hornets this year. So I like what he's been doing coming off the bench. He knows his role. He's playing well in his role, so I like that. For my most improved player, I gotta say Andre Drummond, doing his thing in Detroit, showing what he can do. When he first came in the league, I saw that raw potential in him, but now it's really culminating for him, and he's doing this thing big time. Yeah. So NFL awards, the regular season is over. Who do you guys have in terms of MVP, Rookie of the Year, that type of thing?
To me, MVP is easy. Cam Newton, not too many offensive weapons. His biggest target taken away from him in the preseason, and he's managed to take this Carolina Panthers team to be nearly undefeated and playing for a Super Bowl, all the while putting up impressive stats the whole way through. So it's got to be Cam for me. Defensive player, J.J. Watt. Honorable mention, Khalil Mack. The guy made All-Pro in 2 different positions, which I don't know if I've ever seen happen. So that's amazing in itself. Moving on to the rookies. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I have to go with Todd Gurley. The guy's drawn AP Adrian Peterson comparisons in his first year. Had 1,000+ yards, 10 touchdowns, all on a team with not much of a quarterback and not much of a surrounding cast. Very impressive. And on the defensive side of the ball, for rookies, Marcus Peters, settling in as a great corner on one of the better defenses in the league. 8 picks and 2 touchdowns. Impressive season by anyone's standards. Even much more for a rookie. So those are who I'm looking at.
Well, so MVP, I'm also totally with you about Cam. The best player on the best regular season team. 15-1, he was, Mr. Do-It-All for the Panthers for sure. 35 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns, just like unheard of stuff. For a defensive player, I was thinking J.J. Watt as well, but I have 2 other names that I really like as well. So number 1, Josh Norman, corner for the Panthers, also just a complete lockdown corner with basically erase one side of the field this year. Really emerged and brought a strong attitude also to the Panthers, and like a really tough mindset that a lot with Cam on offense, he brought that mindset, and on defense, Josh had that really strong mindset on defense. My guy though, actually, and this is a name that I feel like a lot of people are forgetting about because he got hurt right at the end of the season, is Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. he was an absolute beast this year. I completely dominant in the secondary for Arizona. Picks, fumbles, forced, everything, sacking the quarterback, did everything. One of the most dynamic players in the NFL. And I think he's going to get really overlooked because he blew out his knee at the end of the season. And since really the MVP is about the regular season, or awards, or regular season awards, I'm going to roll with him for Defensive Player of the Year. Marcus Peters, totally with you. Offensive rookie, I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. With Oakland, Todd Gurley came on really strong at the beginning of the year, but I think Amari Cooper has a chance to be the best receiver in the NFL within the next 5 years. So I really like Amari Cooper. Okay, so with that said, on the topic of the NFL, let's talk about this offseason thus far. So, like I said, the regular season just ended. What moves do you like? Which ones do you not like? So the first one that jumps to my head is the Chip Kelly to San Francisco move. What do you think about that?
Chip Kelly moving from the Eagles to the Niners, taking his style of coaching there with him. It's a high-tempo, high-powered offense based a lot on the run. So we're going to see whether or not Colin Kaepernick can resurrect his career, so that's going to be big. The other thing is Chip Kelly wants to really ingrain into his players his sports science kind of background, watching what his players eat, and these are grown men, these aren't college students, right? So it's going to be a little bit harder for him to do that. You saw what happened in Philly with the players and how they kind of lost faith in him over time, lost patience with him, I think, over time. So we'll have to see how that goes. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Especially what you said right there at the end. I'm not a fan of the move. I think, as you said, Chip Kelly is definitely a football mastermind and really knows his stuff and put together a really innovative offense in Philly. But if you think about it, like you said, all these guys that Philly's brought in over the last 5-10 years, Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, Jeremy Maclin, Nick Foles, these guys are all Pro Bowl players, and you go through multiple drafts and 12 rounds every draft trying to find these guys, and they found them. And for him to boot them out of there, it's crazy.
He really did have the team that everybody dreams of building. He had it.
All the cornerstones, and these guys are younger players too. And it's not, and you can see it wasn't just the Eagles that the reason why they had success. Maclin has been one of the best players on the Chiefs. Deshaun Jackson has had great success with Kirk Cousins, and LaShawn McCoy did a pretty good job this year with the Bills, even though he was hurt. The only guy, I guess, is Foles that had a little trouble, but I think that, that was a big thing, and it's really, for me, the head coach has to have a lot of leadership. That should be the number one characteristic of a head coach, the ability to connect with players, to lead, an army of men, basically. You have offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators who can be the masterminds behind the scenes and come up with strategy. But you need a guy who can corral the troops and really connect with these guys. And clearly Chip has shown that he can't do that. Or thus far, as players have said, that they don't like him. LaShawn McCoy won't shake his hand.
Chip ain't shaking shit.
That's really bad. There's no doubt that's really bad. And if I'm a guy in San Francisco right now, maybe outside of Colin Kaepernick, he might be the only one that's pumped to see Chip come. So that doesn't bode too well for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, you guys mentioned Kaepernick. I was going to say he has to be the one person who's happy. Clearly a very athletic and talented guy whose skill set really lends itself to Chip Kelly's style of play. We could see him become a big part of that offense and maybe resurrect his career. I heard the 49ers website took all Kaepernick jerseys off clearance, so maybe even that's a sign that Chip Kelly already has him in their long-term plans. But that's a guy who should be excited. But like you said, Chip Kelly not really great at connecting with these grown men and getting them behind him and buying in. So I don't know how I feel about giving Chip Kelly another shot this quick. Other moves that I was looking at, Lovie Smith. Personally, I thought that was a terrible decision by the Bucs. I know a lot of the players felt the same way. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, also was very, very much not a fan of the Lovie Smith firing by Tampa Bay. In their first season, they went 2-14 in Levy's first year. Didn't have a quarterback, had a ton of moving parts, total rebuilding process. So, that was a bad year, but this year they improved to 6-10 with a rookie quarterback. They're on an upward trajectory. I think that's all that you can ask of a second-year head coach with a rebuilding project. That's the Buccaneers. Nobody came into the season expecting the Bucs to make the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs, but they actually did better than I think a lot of people thought. I think Jameis Winston developed better than a lot of people thought too. And I think they were, they could be a team that's, getting better. Maybe by next year they make the playoffs on the rate that they were growing. But now the GM or Buccaneers brass, I guess, cut that growth process, and that's unfortunate. And I think a lot of players are, upset at that and like, hey, we can't get a coach who can stay longer than 2 years here, and that's a big problem that I think we're seeing across the NFL right now.
Yeah, I mean, one of the keys to success in the NFL is stability among
major key. I'm sorry.
It's stability among owners and GMs in wanting to keep the coach and wanting to keep a coaching staff together so that the team can grow as a unit, and develop the players, especially young players like you were saying, Jameis. I mean, this goes back to even when my Oakland Raiders fired Hugh Jackson as our head coach after 8-8 season. It's like, what do you actually expect when we have nothing? Do you expect a playoff team? And they decided to cut ties with him. Luckily for Hugh Jackson, I mean, it hasn't been a downward spiral. He got hired by the Cleveland Browns the other day. So we'll see what he can do in Cleveland with the young team that they have. I know it's been said that he's not a Johnny Manziel fan in the least bit. So we have to see what happens with Johnny, and hopefully Hugh Jackson has success.
Hugh Jackson's not down for the extras of Johnny Manziel. He's gone.
Not at all.
He's gone. But before we get too deep into the offseason, we still do have some more football left to play. Winding down pretty close to the Super Bowl. What are you guys' picks for who's walking away with the ring this year?
Oh, Carolina. Oh, Carolina. I mean, oh my goodness. They played a game today against the Seattle Seahawks and went up 31-0 in the first half. Yes, they didn't score in the second half, and Seattle had a bit of a comeback, but that defense held strong and they held together and they came out with the win. And that's what I like to see among playoff teams, especially teams that kind of dominated during the regular season. They did their thing and they showed that they have the kind of potential to go on and win the Super Bowl. And I don't think even the New England Patriots, the kings of cheating, can stop the Carolina Panthers this year.
Yeah, I'm with you about Carolina for sure. The reason I think that they have a perfect blueprint formula to beat the Patriots, because there's nothing too complex about what they do. The Patriots are the best at kind of shutting down this complex, Indianapolis Colts, like back in the Peyton Manning days type attack with all these formations and passing and stuff like that. No, Carolina's just, okay, we're bigger than you, we're stronger than you, we're just going to run it straight at you. And I really like that about the Panthers, and I think that for that reason, they will beat I just made a big jump and said that didn't even get to the fact that I think they would play the Patriots. But whatever. Okay, so I think that the Patriots are going to go to the Super Bowl because I think that they are easily the best team in the AFC, and I think that Denver and Pittsburgh are both broken down. And I've got to roll with Bill Belichick in a game against any team that has weaknesses, and I think Peyton Manning is hurt, and Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown are hurt. So whoever wins between Denver and Pittsburgh, I already got my money on New England. So back to Carolina. When I think Carolina and New England play in the Super Bowl, my money's on Carolina and Cam this year.
All right, for me, I think it's got to be a clean sweep. I got to roll with Carolina as well. For me, the Patriots are an easy lock to get to the Super Bowl. They don't really run into any trouble in the AFC. I see them getting there. I really had Seattle this whole way, but they just lost today. I thought they were a really tough team, and you even saw that being able to keep their composure and keep their head in the game that they're down 31-0 to maybe the best team in football was very impressive in itself. But now that they're gone, I have to look past them, and I'm going to have to take the team that beat them. Cardinals are a great challenge as well, but I see Carolina taking them down. And so if Carolina and New England face off in the Super Bowl, I'll have to take Carolina. Like you said, Carolina's not too many gimmicks, don't have many offensive weapons. It's just a straight up game plan, solid defense. Everything on that team's so solid. Maybe the one weakness, lack of skill position players, but very solid team. The Pats aren't full strength, don't have much of a run game right now. I'll look for the Panthers to take advantage of that very strong defense. So I'm going to have to roll with Carolina as well.
And one thing to watch for, Greg Olsen looks like he went down with another injury at the end of that Seattle game. So we have to see how that pans out for Cam Newton and them folks.
Okay, so this is a completely different direction. We've kind of covered sports a little bit, but just to talk quickly about music. What are you guys excited for in 2016? I know Kanye just announced that Swish is coming out on February 11th. The return of Good Fridays. He just dropped that Real Friends. And then the little snippet of No More Parties in LA. Views from the 6th. There's rumors that it's supposed to come out this month. A rumored Kendrick and J. Cole project. So what, amongst all these things, what are you guys excited for?
Right now, I'm pretty excited about Kanye. Return of Good Fridays. I mean, it didn't come out this past Friday, but the first one was enough to have me excited. The song with Ty Dolla $ign, Real Friends. A nice break from the braggadocio Kanye West, which I do like, but we've become very accustomed to, and to me, really is not the best one. Yeah, it was a really cool song, and his album's coming out really soon, so I'm interested to see if we're gonna see more Facts or more Real Friends. Hopefully we get a cool little mix, but maybe more on the side of Real Friends.
Yeah, well, I'm looking for balance with the Kanye project, and the return of Good Fridays, that's like a cultural movement. That's something that we all look forward to. So, yep, look forward to that.
Man, I'm excited. I'm recently revived and excited for Swish. Was not excited at all before Real Friends dropped. Facts, I was not a big fan of personally. That didn't sound like Kanye. It was like it was like a Jumpman freestyle. It was just, I don't know, that's not Kanye. The thing that I love about Kanye is just the fact that nobody else can be Kanye. Nobody else sounds like Kanye. So I don't like when Kanye tries to sound like others. Real Friends was dope. It was really cool to get like you said, like a personal, like Kanye on his first 3 albums, College Dropout, Late Registration, and Graduation, it was all like about his life and his story. And we got back into that, like real issues and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And also that No More Parties in LA sounded crazy with him and Kendrick going back and forth. Mad Lib on the beat, that was insane to me. So I'm pumped. I definitely want to see it go in that direction for Swish, but we'll see. Apparently, what I heard is that the Kardashians are picking some of the tracks, so we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know that they would be a No More Parties in LA, like, real hip hop, but we'll see what happens. Man, Kendrick and J. Cole, that would be monumental. Apparently, they kind of tease a potential February 16th release. I don't know the validity to that, but man, that would be like my favorite project. Like I mean, I haven't heard it yet, but that has potential to be one of the best projects, like ever. Maybe the 2 top rappers, in my opinion, in the
Biggest bezel.
Icon alert right there. So that would be absolutely amazing. We'll see though, it might be a little too good to be true, but I think that takes over that might shut down the whole
For
thing.
sure. Alright guys, thank you for tuning in. This was another episode of Global Game. I'm Saucin, that's my guy Kyle, and special thanks to my man Austin Martin for taking a seat and discussing with us today. Just know, it's a vibe.
That was good.